Okay, I'm gonna do this video really quick because someone asked me, I don't have the email up. What was it? It was, hold on. Oh, well, what were my thoughts about the city increasing the business tax on small businesses? Be sure to join the Discord down in the description box below. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. I thought I would do this video really quick. I touched on this before, and I'd done the video right when I heard about this happening, and it was not a good video. So, meaning that I went off on tangents and I got upset. I don't like the idea of the city increasing fees 700% on small business owners in Tacoma. I think it's the wrong thing to do, especially given the amount of, we're just recovering from COVID a little bit. We still don't know what the winter season is going to bring. We are dealing with record number of inflation. You know, the whole idea that they have a plan in place for people who have broken windows. Some businesses don't have to deal with broken windows, yet we don't receive that benefit. We don't have any sort of small business, micro business type of program for the city. I think the city could install a micro business type of format, meaning that they help support micro businesses, especially in our downtown. If they had funding from this whole project that's being created, if the funding of that would go to organizations that work to improve businesses in the city, I think that would be great. That would be the first thing. I think that, there are many different vacant store fronts downtown that could be filled with businesses. I think that there are organizations that are prime at doing that, but they need the funding, and the city could take some of that revenue, give it to those organizations so that they can actually help do this. $1 million would go a tremendous way, because there's so many different business programs you can open, operate. You can have incubators. You could really start to churn out a lot of different businesses here in Tacoma, some of which could be even our own local department store, home-based. There are people that need the help. And so that would be a great thing for the city to do. Those are my thoughts. The bigger part to this is the folks that don't understand, they're taking this business license tax, which one thing that the city should do too is make sure they have someone go and check for all the businesses that don't actually have a business license in Tacoma. There's a lot of them. If you go to Freight House Square, you'll find a plenty that don't have a business license. That's not me being shady, it's speaking the truth. A lot of the folks in the food hall obviously would have to, because of health code that they have to follow and all of that. But there are many others, and there's many around the city that don't have actual business licenses, and the city of Tacoma should go after them to recoup a tremendous amount of money that they're missing out on. Not go after the businesses that are doing the right thing. It's kind of short-sighted, and businesses can vote with their feet. King County is not far away. And you don't even have to go there. You can go south to Thurston County, or you don't even have to leave the county. You could technically go to another city and do your business like University Place, and you don't have to worry about it. But anyway, I'm not going to get sidetracked here. One of the big things I think the city should do is, not long ago, we had a study done for ferry service connecting Tacoma to Seattle. And there was a city council member who had really proposed that, looked into it. The city paid a bunch of money, got the study back a couple of years ago, and there were 4 to 5 different options they could choose from. In my opinion, the ones that do not include downtown are not needed. Point Ruston's too far away, Old Town is too far away, and Point Defiance is definitely too far away. Point Defiance is the cheapest option, I believe, because it's already set up for certain things, and it's designed to handle the massive 350 passenger ferries. But we don't really need all that. To be honest with you, the 11th Street Bridge location, or where the Maritime Museum is, those are the two options downtown. That makes a lot of sense to me. One, because most of the infrastructure is already there from a parking lot standpoint for both of those locations. Also, you have areas where this whole thing could work. Some were saying that the 11th Street spot makes the most sense. If they were to do that, my suggestion would be to build a huge, long pedestrian bridge connecting downtown directly to it, not force everybody to drive down there. That would be my suggestion. People should be able to walk from downtown, and there should also be a bus stop right there as well. I think that they should spend the money to build a ferry terminal that can handle at least 500 people at a time. Why? If these vessels hold 165 or 60 something people each, there's going to be 3 of them that they're going to purchase. They would need to be able to understand that you're going to bring people in as well. So people coming from Seattle into Tacoma, that could be a large group of people, 165 people. You have another 165 waiting to get on the ferry. To me, and I'm not an expert, but it should be big enough to accommodate people without a problem. Also anticipate further expansions when you're building this, so that we're not having to expand every single year, but build it big enough to where it can last a good 10 years before we'd have to expand it. That to me makes a lot of sense. Seattle is building a massive ferry terminal up there. They're working on it right now. And we don't have to build something that's so, futuristic and curves and bent and all this weird stuff. We don't have to do that. We just need a simple building that is worthy of Tacoma, meaning it's not something basic and bland and ugly, but something that looks nice. It doesn't have to have glass from top to bottom, but it does need to be very modern looking, very sleek looking, and forward thinking, in my opinion. I think the report said that the cost to build a ferry terminal can be as little as $500,000 up to several millions of dollars. And again, the $500,000 mark is kind of cheap looking. I would say somewhere in the $2 to $3 million range probably would get you very far. And again, this needs to just be modern enough to handle today's current traffic. The total money that's being brought in from the business tax is more than what is needed, by the way. The city had proposed doing a very minor tweak that would have brought in enough money to cover the debt that the city has. But another city council member said, no, let's blow that up quite a bit. And we're talking about now they're raising 3 times the amount of money that the city needs, a 700% increase, and it mostly impacts small businesses, those that have making no dollars, all the way up to those making about $1 million. So $1 million and under, those are the businesses that really take the brunt of the weight of this. The fees don't make sense. Thankfully, the Chamber of Commerce, Andrea Ray, the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce in Tacoma, lobbied very hard and said this should not be the case. Businesses can vote with their feet. She didn't say that, but essentially that's kind of what she was saying, and now it's going to be a staggered approach in terms of phasing that in. The city is still going to get the $10 million, which I don't think that they should, but regardless, they're still going to get the money. It's staggered over time a little bit, and that money should be used for transportation. I would invite the city to look at that a little bit more, connecting Tacoma to Seattle. There's another city in the middle, I believe it's Tukwila, I'm not for certain, that is already looking at the idea of connecting themselves to Seattle and to Tacoma because they're kind of a midway point. I see this terminal in Tacoma as being somewhat of a hub for the South Sound, obviously. You're going to see Olympia probably connect to Tacoma water taxi because it's much easier to do. The longer the route, the more expensive it is for the operator. I believe that if Pierce Transit, the city of Tacoma, the Pierce County, I think all of those could actually get together and create this program. And along with the state and the feds, they should be able to actually raise enough funds for a project such as this. So to me, it's not a difficult proposition. I think with the extra money, this could be used for this. Now, this is not going to cover all of it. It depends on how fancy we get with this project. It could be in the double-digit millions, right? Or it could be in the smaller amounts of billions, right? We don't need a $70 million deal. We need 3 boats. One ferry, there's an operator that's selling a ferry here. It's right in Tacoma, I believe. and it has 165 passengers. This would be perfect. So to be honest with you, I think the city, and I'm looking into that, trying to connect the dots here and say, look, maybe this is something we should take a look at. But connecting Tacoma to Seattle, downtown to downtown, would be a major economic boom for downtown. Imagine the people walking downtown Tacoma streets to get onto the pedestrian bridge to go over to this site. And when they leave, they walk back. Imagine the bicyclists and the people walking. And then when they go into Seattle, same thing, the bicyclists get off, the people walking into that big hub, and people leave and they get on to the ferry. It comes back to Tacoma. And again, that same flow, that ebb and flow is what we need. That creates vitality. It will also increase tourism. There's a lot of people that want to come to Tacoma. They don't want to drive. And they would rather, or they can't drive, they would rather take a ferry in, and this is a way to do that. It's a much more effective way. We already know the cost. I think it's $11 going. I don't know if it's a round trip or not, but I think the figure said $11. That's fine. Make it $13 if you need to. I don't think you should make it higher than $15, because then it's like, dang, that's expensive. But we are paying for a quick service. This is not a vehicle and passenger service. We do have that. It goes to Vashon. But this is going to be a passenger only, where it goes from here to Seattle. I think that we should definitely do that. I think we should move on that rather quickly. We're talking about a terminal that could be built rather fast, and I think it would aid in tourism. This should be something also that is not limited to Monday through Friday. We are now becoming more of a 24-hour-a-day city. Some people may laugh at that, but if you look at some of the things that are coming, it's slowly approaching. We should focus on Monday through Sunday. And I think that on the weekends, maybe stagger it a little bit so that it's not as frequent. But I do think that we should have ferry service that runs from, 5 a.m. until, 8 p.m. I really do think that that would be something that would work very well for this region. Again, we're talking about a county of really 1 million people here waiting for connectivity to Seattle that does not require a vehicle, does not require the Sounder train. This would be a great option. This would be a wonderful option. I know some people are saying, well, the juice is not worth the squeeze. Eventually, light rail will come down and connect people. Light rail will be able to get you into the city maybe the same amount of time or whatnot. There's arguments on that, right? To get you from here into downtown Seattle will take longer than it would be on a fast ferry. I think a fast ferry, they're saying it's maybe under an hour, right at. Taking the light rail will be a little bit over an hour. So no matter if you take bus, light rail, or what have you, Sounder train, it's going to take you a little bit longer to get into Seattle. The ferry probably would be the fastest way to get there. So you're paying more money, but you're going to get there faster. I think this is something that we should definitely consider. Tell me what your thoughts are. I think we should do it. If they're going to raise the business tax that high, it should be used to support businesses. Create a fund of $1 million that can be given to organizations that work on filling vacant storefronts and things like that. Let that plan work for 10 years. So basically they have $1 million over the span of 10 years. That's a lot of infusion into downtown for just retail. That's a big business boom on its own. The rest of that money should be used, in my opinion, to get ferry service into from Tacoma to Seattle. Like I said, there's already a ferry here that's $400,000. I've already looked at the cost of it, right? The ferry's $400,000. That's a start. It's relatively new. We have tons of folks here that can work on ferries. That's what we do. There's boat builders here. So to me, it's something that we should definitely jump on. Purchase a couple of ferries. There's already one that's operational. Get that one started. To me, that should be something we get started today, and then work on everything else. Have people arrive, have a basic little area for them to actually go to for right now, load onto the ferry, and then we dock into Seattle. Figure out where we would dock at. The biggest issue is finding a place to dock. However, as I mentioned, Seattle is building this massive terminal I think it may be a private developer. I'm not sure. But they're building this massive area for ferry service, and they're thinking an operator would probably be from Bremerton or something like that. Kitsap County is already doing a lot of ferry service. Other cities are considering this. I think that we should definitely move forward rather quickly rather than waiting or not considering it. So I'm going to try to work whatever little tiny power I have and bring it to different folks' attention. And see what we can do. See if we can move that needle and start things now versus later. Tell me what your thoughts are. Be sure to join the Discord down in the description box below. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and comment. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.